Thomas Countryman, presidente de la Junta de Asociación de Control de Armas. Él fue diplomático y fue subsecretario de Estado para Asuntos de Seguridad Internacional de los Estados Unidos en el gobierno de Obama y de Trump entre 2016 y 2017. Thomas, thanks for being with us in Negocios TV. It's a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thomas, everybody is talking about the new start. Today is over. They are talking about Russia and United States. They are talking about one more year. What do you think about the new start?
Well, it's unfortunate that the United States has not acted to address the expiration of the New START treaty. With this treaty having gone away, there's now no limits on the number of weapons that the U.S. and Russia can deploy against each other. Through 6 decades of arms control negotiations, Washington and Moscow succeeded in eliminating 85% of the nuclear weapons they held. But we're now at a moment where this long downward trend in the number of nuclear weapons in the world may turn back upward. I hope that the current discussions going on finally allow the two sides to say we will hold at the limit of the treaty, even though the treaty has expired, and prepare to engage each other on a new negotiation to reduce nuclear risk. That process should have started last year. It may be starting today. It's not too late, but I'm still very concerned about the possibility of a new trilateral arms race, including the U.S., Russia, and China.
Thomas, we are too late. We are waiting for these negotiations. The question is clear. Are we closer to a new nuclear arms race?
The answer is yes. We are closer to a new nuclear arms race. The U.S., there are within the U.S. government and those who influence the U.S. government, people who believe that now is the time to increase the deployment of nuclear weapons to address not only the challenge from Russia, but the challenge from China, which is rapidly increasing its much smaller nuclear arsenal. And of course, those same forces are in the ascendancy in Beijing and Moscow as well. The people who think that arms control is not sufficient to address national security challenges. This is where I and my association, the Arms Control Association, think they're just plain wrong. Arms control is national security. It is the safest and most cost-effective means to reduce the threat of war between superpowers.
We are talking about Russia and the US. How can they trust each other? The new start is over. How can they trust in these days, these months, how can they trust each other without this threat?
Well, I see no reason that anybody should trust the current leaders of Russia, China, or the United States. But treaties are not about trust. They are about setting limits that can be monitored and having the capability to respond if the other side violates the treaty. That's what we're talking about. It's not a matter of suddenly becoming good friends. It's a matter of negotiating wisely in your own national security interest. And that's unfortunately not what is happening today between Washington and Moscow or between Washington and Beijing.
Russia, China, and United States, they are fighting for the hegemony. This threat is over. This new start is over. Does this increase the risk of miscalculations?
Yes. I mean, the risk of miscalculation is a factor of many different influences. One is the total number of weapons and the type of weapons you have deployed. With the expiration of this treaty, there will be new destabilizing kinds of delivery systems developed by the United States and Russia and China. But the risk is also compounded by other factors. The fact of geopolitical calculation and actual conflict in several parts of the world means you can't predict when a relatively small conflict gets escalated into a nuclear conflict. And finally, there's the factor that leaders who are emotional, unpredictable, and who believe in their own superiority have the sole authority to order the use of nuclear weapons. I think most of the world would not trust either President Putin or President Trump to do the right thing in a crisis. So for all those reasons, I judge, with many others in the community, that the risk of nuclear war today is higher than it has been at any time since 1962, since the Caribbean Missile Crisis.
And Thomas, we are talking about Russia, about the US, but what about China? What about United Kingdom? What about France? They should be included in this new start, in the next new start, or for example, Israel should be included also?
Well, right now there are 5 countries that are recognized in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty as possessing weapons. You've listed them: the US, Russia, Britain, France, and China. There are 4 more states that are not part of the Non-Proliferation Treaty that have built nuclear weapons: Israel, India, Pakistan, and North Korea. Those 5 states have a legal obligation that they agreed to 55 years ago, that they will negotiate with each other in good faith to reduce nuclear arsenals. Right now, none of those 5 states are meeting that legal obligation. They each have a different excuse for doing it. So all 5 of them must be involved in negotiations, but that does not mean that they have to do it today. It is the responsibility of the United States and Russia, which together possess 90% of the world's nuclear weapons, to continue the process that they pursued for 50 years until it was interrupted in the last 10 years. And that is to negotiate meaningful reductions with each other. If there's progress on that front, I look forward to the day where first China and the UK and France, which have far smaller arsenals, are brought into a process. But right now, the burden is on Washington and Moscow to do something other than issue press statements, to sit down and talk.
We are talking about these conversations, these negotiations. We have also another news about Russia and US. They have agreed to restore high-level military dialogue. What do you think about this? Are these positive news also for this new start?
Yes, it is positive. High-level military dialogue can reduce tensions. It's necessary also to get the experts on nuclear issues who are not 100% within the military talking to each other about next steps in a risk reduction process.
Well, the world waiting for Russia and US waiting for a new agreement. Thomas, thanks for being with us. Negocios TV, it's a pleasure. Have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Good day.